person who will be speaking is Reuben Ralephata. Reuben is the Acting Director for Public Ordinary School Directorate of the Gauteng Department of Education. He'll be setting the scene from the department side and share with us why it's important that schools have a functioning school governing body.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the welcome and for the opportunity to speak to the principals. In fact, when I got an invitation, it was from the office of the HOD, and I wasn't so sure as to which organization is this. At times we find ourselves caught in between, in that I sit in an audience and I have to respond the following day. Why did I address that audience? Depending on the composition of the audience. But I'm glad I'm speaking to school principals and specifically focusing on the need for functional SGBs. We will be taking more discussions from the inputs that you'll be making or questions, because in all fairness, the SGB itself, a functional SGB, is as described in the South African Schools Act, Section 20, and that comes precisely what the SGB must do. And if the SGB can respond to those items in the South African Section 20 of SASA, then the SGB will be meeting its obligation. The SGB will be doing what is expected of them to do. Whilst we make it an effort as well to say, for us to have functional SGBs, that must be an effort by all of us. And that is why maybe we end up with parents coming from the community hoping to benefit something. But this is not only a one-person's show. The SGB functionality, the principal plays a bigger role in making sure that the SGB has to be functional. It is a school principal who can make the SGB to be non-functional. And it is again the school principal who can make an SGB to be functional. We are currently running workshops in all districts where we're trying to say we're going to have SGB elections in March. And we depend on principals to make sure that insofar as mobilizing people out there, you don't need head office to mobilize, you don't need the district office. But if the principal can make all out effort, we definitely will have attendance. And it is out of attendance to these meetings that we are able to select people that are keen and people that will definitely assist us in making sure that we have functional SGBs. Where we sit, we end up with SGBs that are not functional, because you sit with people that have been on the SGB for as long as history tells, and you yourself as the school principal sometimes even making it an effort to make sure that Reuben sits on the SGB as long as times allow. But now we also might reach a stalemate where Reuben himself also make it an effort that I will mobilize the community to have me sitting on that SGB for my personal gains. The moment people sit on the SGB for personal gains, that is when we lose focus. The core function of the SGB is to support the principal. And where we sit in the Department of Education, we are forever involved in a huge number of school principals and SGBs that are at loggerheads, where people are fighting, literally exchanging fists. And that says to you, there is something untoward happening. But the fact of the matter is, in order for us to get a functional SGB, one way or the other, you as a principal will have to win, and them as SGBs must win as well. Otherwise, if we go in, the issue of attitudes amongst members also says a lot, because you'd find people fighting personal battles within the SGB. I remember I was in a meeting where an SGB member, when they were canvassing for elections, an SGB member saying to the parents, vote for me, I will sort this principal. And to me that was saying, it's not about sorting the principal, but let us look at what is wrong, what has gone wrong. And most of the time when we sit in this type of disputes, we end up saying to the principal and the SGB members, you are the solution. You know exactly where the answer lies. And we can give you legislation, we can give you all sorts of legislation to say, let's functionalize the SGB, but the principal plays a crucial role in bringing this SGB to play, to bring the SGB into line, to make sure that some of the parents, yes, they come there with other ambitions, but it is for you to say, assist in line with Section 16A of the South African Schools Act, because it is your responsibility to guide this SGB. It is the principal's responsibility to show the way for the SGB. And should there be arguments, it's not a cause of saying, I'm reporting to the department, I'm not getting the support. But we still are saying, look into this as a team effort and let's make it possible. For this to work, that's when you come in as SGB, as school principals, and providing the professional guidance. They do not, the SGB, the functional SGB members, don't have business to meddle into the professional affairs of the school. Their responsibility is governance. I was a school principal for more than 12 years, and I also went on to become an SGB chairperson of a school, not when I was a principal. But in that school, whilst I'm a teacher, I wouldn't want to, I knew very well that as an SGB member, I have boundaries. There was no need for me to go into classrooms. But we have SGB members now who are running into classrooms, who are locking teachers out because teachers come late. In order for them to bring discipline, they make sure that the gates are locked. And now that shows that that is the type of an SGB that doesn't understand its roles and functions. But we're saying to yourselves, you should be there to say, ladies and gentlemen, good people of my community, we need, please understand this. For us to serve here, there are boundaries. You have to do ABC, I have to do ABC. And that is basically how it will work. Often we have principals calling the HOD or the MEC saying, I've got a problem with the SGB, they are now teaching in class and so on. It's not about that. How do you resolve it yourself? So where we sit now, we also need to look into our support structures. Just before I finish, the support system that we have for schools, obviously we have different layers from the school. The principal supports the SGB supports the principal. And the next level obviously would be the district. You have an IDSO or a cluster leader, and this is the person, this is the immediate supervisor. It is also disappointing, and we are also saying this to the officials, that there are tendencies in some schools where people basically forget their managerial roles, and they end up, we had a school where the school which wrote a letter, a certificate to the IDSO and saying the best IDSO in the Republic. And we were saying it's not about patronizing each other, it's not about, we need to talk about working relations. So when we sit, we're also saying, but now the district office, that is the immediate source of support. Should there be issues within the SGB? Should there be issues within the school itself? For sure, the district is there to mediate. The district has to be there to support you. And over and above that, should then if the matter can be resolved in whatever way at the district level, then at head office, that is where the HOD will have to make his decision. But we still believe that all issues can be resolved at SGB level. We unfortunately sit with forensic investigation reports. We are so sorry because you see sometimes we find ourselves sitting in the disciplinary hearings where we no longer look at people's faces, but we have to say, but legislation says this is what the principal must do. And at that point, it's no longer a question of I looking at Daya, but I'm looking at what the legislation say. And we find that to be very difficult, but we're saying, you still have the means. You still are in charge. Our message to SGBs out there is to say, they cannot wish you away, and you cannot wish them away. So we're saying, let's start working as a team. On the issue of people that are getting paid or stipends in whatever format, it is the SGB that sits, and the principal is a member of that SGB. you will find that such decisions are made by people sitting together as a team, and they're saying, for us to come to any meeting, we need to be paid this much. For us to come to any meeting, the kind of meals that must be served. People even go on to prescribe the kind of meals they must have in their SGB meetings. And sometimes, remember, these are the parents of these SGBs are the only people that don't get paid. And for them to come over to serve on the SGBs, they still serve as volunteers. It's not about the stipends. Most of the time we ask the question, if there's a forensic investigation, then we say, why did the principal not alert the department about this? If for any time a person attend an SGB meeting, they're getting 100 rand, 75 rand, and so on. Why was this normal? And was there some fundraising that was made towards that project? Because if you did some fundraising as the SGB, and you are still saying the beneficiary in whatever project you have is the child. And sometimes you find people forgetting the child into this puzzle, and now you find parents, adults at each other's throats unnecessarily. But we are saying we still can make it. We have an announcement, and I believe some of you have already attended our workshops, which are currently running, where we're saying we are capacitating school electoral teams insofar as the 2015 SGB elections are concerned. The theme for Gauteng is, as 2015 SGB elections, your voice, our mandate, vote wisely. In the next week, the communications department and the MEC, you might be getting an invitation that from next week onwards, there's going to be a huge media campaign that is run by the office of the MEC. We also have an announcement for the principal from the Johannesburg East and the Egulen South. The Minister of Education, Honorable Angie Motshekga, will be in Tembisa Mitlaring Stadium. So all SGB members are invited. Catering will be provided. It's not on the school's budget. Do us a favor. For sure by tomorrow we will be sending you a message to that effect. But that is what we are trying to say. I know Daya might be talking about that, but where we sit, that is the position. On that note, thank you very much.